time.
Okay. Yeah.
I think everyone else's videos will be off, so that's fine. Okay, let's begin.
Okay, where's she gone to now?
My name is Mohammed Abduroaf. I'm a practicing advocate in Cape Town, and today's webinar will be dealing with the issue of gender-based violence and how do you deal with it. We had a previous webinar on gender-based violence, dealing with the legal remedies. But today we want to focus on not the issue of what gender-based violence is, your experience on gender-based violence, but some advice to people on how to handle it. So you are a victim, we accept that. How do you go beyond that in dealing with it? So with me today we have Glynis. Glynis, thank you very much for joining us. She joined a moment ago. And we have Susan as well. She has been on our previous webinar, so welcome to both of you. So I will start with Susan. Susan, if you can just maybe give a short introduction on who you are, and then I'll ask Glynis to do the same, and then we can start the ball rolling. Thank you, Susan.
Sure. I'm Susan Larkan. I run an NGO, if you want to use it that way, called Tabansi Okikiyapi. It's a long name, so it's shortened as Tabansi. I've been working in this field for about 24 years. Started with school matters, and obviously went out to gender-based violence, which is one of our very sore subjects globally, actually, not only in South Africa, because we have 1 to 3 women, and I'm using a woman, but it's not only women that is involved in gender-based violence. It's 1 to 3 globally that will experience some form of gender-based violence in their life. Yeah, so I'm very much involved in that, and I work nationally. When I say nationally, it's everyone. Of course, I have quite a following on Facebook. I have lots of matters coming my way. I either can direct the victim to what they have to do, or what process they can do. If they're obviously in my province, I can, or near in Cape Town, I can help them physically. But yes, so it's a daily task, and it's actually sad the number of people that are coming out looking for help. I am a victim. Well, I was a victim. I'm now a survivor, and I use my experience, because I'm not a lawyer or of any legal. I'm not a legal advocate, judge, or anything like that. So all my experience that I can assist people with is from my own experience, and then obviously from my own research. I do a lot of reading on it daily, because things change all the time. So that's where I am at the moment, and I feel very strongly about gender-based violence. And as I've said before, it's not only directed on women, it happens throughout. It happens woman, man, whatever your gender is, it can happen. And there's no discrimination, there's no age restriction to it or anything. They just often put it, if it's a minor child, under a different child abuse, but there is gender-based violence. There's no discrimination on that at all. So yes, that's who I am, and I really, as I said, I'm strong about eradicating gender-based violence or assisting the victim at all times.
Well, Susan, thank you very much for that. I can honestly say, I mean, I've been practicing as an advocate almost for 2 decades, and on a regular basis, I've been assisting people from a legal point of view, like the Domestic Violence Act, when it comes to issues of domestic violence. And I have represented men as well in the past who were victims of domestic violence. You know,
yes.
Either a ex-spouse, a ex-lover, or ex-partner. Okay, thank you very much for that. Glynis, we have you back. Glynis, just shortly before we go into the topic deeply, can you just maybe give us a minute or 2 about who you are and what you do? We cannot hear.
Absolutely. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm actually a law student that works with various NPOs and NGOs, mainly one called Rise Up Against Gender-Based Violence. And I myself am a survivor. I almost said victim, but survivor. And then, yeah, so basically I try and be involved as much as I can. But the reason I've joined this webinar is I'm a lot more interested in the legal aspect, because I've heard of so many people tell me that, you know, they go to the police to report it and the police won't even, you know, like take a note of it, you know, not open a case, nothing. So I'm just really interested to find out, you know, what are the different approaches and, you know, remedies available for victims and survivors. That's me in a nutshell. You're muted.
My microphone was off. Sorry about that. Glenys, thank you very much. We have another Glenys joining us a bit later as well. Susan, can you maybe assist us regarding that specific question? What can they really do from a legal point of view?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the whole conversation. I had to just adjust my thing. But yes, I got that she's a law student or something like that. The best is to actually get involved for the full ground, to actually get a lot of practical background on, and how can I say, information and advice and knowledge, the word is education, is to actually hook up with some, or network with many of the safe homes, with the NPOs and GPOs, and with your trauma centers at SAPS, because many of them have trauma centers and they deal with this. Maybe volunteer a lot of your time there to get ground practical experience in it, because it actually helps you with your theory. I actually didn't catch if you are a survivor. Can I ask you?
Yes.
You are.
I am.
Okay, great. So you have had experience in that. The fact is to remain a survivor. Don't ever allow yourself to go back into a relationship or into a situation where you become a victim again. I unfortunately done it 4 times, and it took me a lot. I always say a slow learner. I've learned, and I won't allow that in my life again. And that's the best policy you can have for yourself, is not to allow anyone in any form to actually abuse you. But on the side that you're actually a law student, is I would suggest that you actually do a lot of voluntary groundwork, which will assist you as well in, if you are going to maybe be a gender-based violence specialist or anything like that, is yes, get the groundwork and just remain a survivor at all times. It's very hard, not an easy job to do, but yes, remain a survivor.
Okay, thank you so much, Susan.
It's a pleasure.
Susan, I just got a question which I have to ask you, and maybe obviously deal with the issue better. We have dealt with it. Obviously, you dealt with it in the previous webinar. Is there anything, if a person is a victim at present of gender-based violence, let's put aside the law and what the person can do legally. As an individual, you know, the person plans on staying in the relationship, so we accept that the person will be in that relationship for the next year or two. So, how does that person deal with being a victim, knowing that there's another person in the house? Is there any tips you can give that person?
Yes, if that person, and then obviously, let me just go back. The abuse is not always physical; it's mental, it's financial, it's economical. If it's abusive, I say leave now. All right, because that harms more. Mentally is just as damaging, but if it's financially and economically abuse, I would say make your nest egg, work around it. If you can get counseling privately, speak to people. Even if it's also, if you can get a networker on a WhatsApp and be able to privately speak to them, let them guide you. Let them guide you to where you should be. You can go and get a protection order and remain in that relationship. There's obviously things that they can put in that protection order which will keep you safe, that if he is abusive or she is abusive, while you're living there still, you can have him removed from the premises or her removed from the premises at the time. Personally, I say it's not a healthy relationship, not a healthy thing to stay in that abusive relationship. Get out as soon as you can. It's not easy for many, but go and start off with speaking to a counsellor near you or someone involved in GBV protection. Let you go and get a protection order. Try, you know, lots of people will, there are both. The abuser can also be reformed. So even if you can both go for counseling, even better. You know, you don't want to see relationships and marriages breaking up, especially if there's minor children. You would rather like a realistic way of repair, but it's a long walk. It's a very long walk, and you must both be prepared for it. yeah, so it's but as I say, if it's abusive, don't stay. That's my thing. Get out, go to a safe house, stay wherever you can safely, and work around that. If it's financial, economical, you can do counseling with someone, and yes, you can make that marriage work or that relationship work, but both parties have to be agreeing on it, and that's also not something that often happens because the abuser doesn't see anything wrong with himself at most of the time. So yes, it depends on the type of abuse, but yeah, you can. Myself, I've left each time with nothing. So I've started over. It's not easy. Where if I looked at it now, maybe I should have stayed longer and built my own safety net, financial safety net around it. I didn't. But I also tell people you can build that and go on from there. Yes, I don't know if that is correct in what I'm saying, but yes, I would say that's the non-legal side of it. But you can get a protection order at your local magistrate's courts. And the abuse, especially if it's not a physical abuse, because that can go quite wobbly and go wrong. If it's only financial, that you can work around that with a protection order and get the maintenance or get the income you're supposed to get. And yeah, you can go for counseling if necessary. Like again, I say, both partners have to agree on that. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Susan. I see we have more participants also. The participants are welcome to ask any questions or make any comments. Once this video gets published, we'll only have my face and Susan's face on the video. Obviously, only your voices will be on there. So if anybody wants to say anything or ask anything, feel free to unmute your microphone and go ahead and say it. Other topic, when I was studying law so many years ago, I also formed part of UKLO and also dealt with people victims of domestic violence. And as a law student, like Glennis spoke early on, that's a quick way of actually getting, face-to-face a feeling of having a real client, because if somebody will come to you and ask you for assistance, you can advise them legally, etc., as opposed to waiting until after you got your articles, you've done your pupillage, all by practicing. So you can get very early life experience on clients and assisting people and consulting with them. So, Susan, another question which I have, I think this is very, very important to note. When people leave the household and they leave, are there any places they can go to if they're in a serious domestic violence situation, being abused, being assaulted? And but basically, the best thing would be for the person to leave because maybe they're living in a rented property, in a home with in-laws, etc. So we can't get rid of the other people. You need to leave. Are there any places, were there any places in South Africa we can go to?
Yes, there are. And the unfortunate thing, the word safe house is a safe house. They are not advertised. They are for the reason to be safe houses. So the perpetrators can't trace them. The best is to either go to your ministers, go to your social workers, go to the police. As I said, most police, major police stations have trauma units. And they are networking with the right people, should be networking with the right people where they have access to these safe houses where they can place you. Also, again, because we've got social media and people like myself and Glennis staff that deal with it, we are networked with the safe houses. So it makes it a lot easier. They're coming direct to us and we can get them out and to the safe homes. But usually, a social worker usually knows your safe houses, and if they will place you. Police, that's usually your first point if you have to run, is your police station. They should be able to place you immediately into a safe home with your children. If there's children involved, they will go with you and they are usually there. Your safe houses are usually safe. When I say usually, is no one, there's always a way a perpetrator can often find that safe house address by being followed or someone followed. But 99.99% of the time they are not advertised. They look like a normal household or a normal place and you are very safe there. There's lots of protocols put in place and so there you also have a social worker often available to you, which can help you, and a person that can get you to court to get the necessary protection orders again. So, and help you serve it, because those are served through the police station. And so you do have all those places. If you are being physically abused, get out. Go to your nearest police station. They are mandated to assist you. And even now through COVID, our president has enforced that they cannot send you away from a police station and say, go home and be a nice wife or be a nice partner. That doesn't happen. Abuse is not only, on the face. Often you are kicked and your whole body is blue and your face is very pretty. And it can't be seen at the police station. They often just send you away. Or you've been there before and they say, sorry, you're here too often. I'm here too often for a reason, is that I need your help. So insist that they actually assist you. They are mandated from the president to assist you. And they themselves have contact with social workers, etc., etc. They can place you in your safe home. There are safe houses. They are often full, but yes, they will always even just put a mattress on the floor if needed to keep you safe. Your right to be safe is there. So in the instance, if you don't know of anyone who to go to, is go to the police. Go to your nearest SAPS, and they've either got to refer you to a trauma center or to social worker or assist you immediately. They cannot chase you out. Sit on that bench and wait until you get assistance if they are being funny with you. Just stand your rights. Yeah. Don't leave the police station. You're safe. It's a neutral place. You're safe.
Susan, thank you for that. Susan, I like having you on here so I can ask a lot of questions and I can also learn at the same time. Tell me, Susan, regarding gender-based violence, for if you are perpetrator of gender-based violence, I'm now the person that's inflicting gender-based violence to the victim, and I acknowledge I have a problem. Where do I go to? Who do I speak to?
You can also go to a social worker and say if you don't have the. I'm looking at the low. If you want to say a person that doesn't have medical aid, okay. You can go to your social worker. They can refer you to your nearest hospital, where you can see a psychologist who will then more likely refer you up the ladder to a psychiatrist, and you will get the counseling needed. It is a mental disorder as well. It falls into the category because there's a reason why you are an abuser. And often, if you will find, there's lots of stories, lots of history. You'll often find that the abuser has been abused him or herself as a child, or has lived in an abusive family where that is what is normal to them. Is yes, you hit your wife, you hit your partner, you hit your husband, because that's the only way you know of how to get what you want. And it's not about, you just don't do it. So there is help for the abusers. There is programs for abusers, like you have AA and NICRO, where they can go and get assistance. And you can have a reformed abuser as much as you can have any addictive behavior can be, if you're an addict, you'll always be an addict, but you can learn how to not use that addiction to your own detriment. So, and then it's anger management as well. It's, why are you doing it? Because you're so angry. Why go and abuse your wife or husband if you are so angry? You've got to learn to communicate. You've got to learn to sit down and look at yourself as well. Why am I doing it? And try, and you've got to go back. It's many times we'll go right down the family history, and you'll find that this type of behavior has been to the great-grandfather already, great-grandmother, into the histories of that. My own experience, my first husband was exactly that. As I started with this, I just saw this is learned behavior. And again, but there is definitely help for the abuser. He can go to, even to a court, he can himself, or she can go to the domestic violence office, and the officers should be able to say to him, listen, we can refer you, that is how it should be. The police should be able to refer him, not chase him away and say, listen, we're going to charge you. If he is adamant that, if he's quite happy to say, listen, I am an abuser, I'm abuser, I'm scared I'm going to kill my family, I need help. Because that often happens, is that they absolutely know that their next move is going to be fatal. Go and get that assistance. You might be removed, you might have to be hospitalized, depending on your level of depression or anything like that. Take that help. And obviously, if you've got medical aid, you've got your psychiatrists. Most medical aids have that available for you for assistance. So there is help. There's help there for the abuser as well.
Susan, thank you for that. Susan, another question I have. So a couple is married, they have an argument out of nowhere, and for one or other reason, someone lifts up their hand. So we just cut the line between something happening out of the blue and to do gender-based violence or domestic violence. There should be every form of insult or argument or cannot this mean it's domestic violence or gender-based violence? When does it fall under the realm of gender-based violence or domestic violence?
When it's continuous, when it's happening over and over and over again. A once-off thing, I can understand you both heated, you're having a fat argument, the wife could go and say if it's because the wife, put it this way again, because it always seems to be the woman. Let's say I think my partner's having an affair and I'm all heated up about it. And I will go and slap him across the face because he's totally denying it, but yes, I've got my proof, put it this way. So my own emotions are running wild, so I'll go and give him a hot clap across the face, put it that way. That might be once off. I wouldn't say that's gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is a continuous abuse on you. It happens every day. It happens regularly. It happens monthly. It is a continuous thing. Bullying at schools, again, they don't like to use gender-based violence, but it is bullying. A lot of bullying at school is gender-based violence. And you'll find that even there, it's a continuous thing. It's daily, it's monthly, it's repetitive. So if my husband's refusing to give me money I'm the housekeeper, but he's refusing to give me income to run the house like he wishes, that's financial economical abuse. And that'll be continuous. It'll be every day, it'll be monthly, it'll be yearly. So yes, that type of abuse. But when I'm getting a hiding every week or every other day, or if he's been drinking or whatever on the weekend and he comes home and doesn't like what he sees or whatever, and I get a hiding on a weekly basis, that is definitely gender-based violence. But a one-off argument, a clap, a smack, as they say now and again, or not now and again, just a smack, would be a one-off. But it can be the start of a continuous behavior, because I've now had the opportunity to smack, he's had the opportunity to push me or smack me. It's more likely going to happen at the next argument so it will build up its momentum and get totally out of hand. Yeah. So if you have got to, sorry, Mohammed, if you have got to the stage where you now feel that you have to physically smack or push or whatever, you should be very aware of the situation and sit back down and say, maybe we need counseling. Maybe we need to look at us and get mental counseling. And you never know, it can be healed and worked on. But definitely it'll become abuse if you continue to do that. That's how I see the line. Once off, twice off, all right, 3 times no. Can you hear me?
I get you 100%. No, Susan, sorry about that. I'm just unmuting. Susan, okay. Now there seems to be a misconception that gender-based violence or domestic violence only applies to maybe like normal households, normal middle income families or the lower income families, as opposed to having more affluent, wealthy people in our communities. Am I presuming that the richer you are, the less likely you are having gender-based violence or domestic violence, or what is the truth?
No, the truth is there is no discrimination. There is no line of where it happens. Yes, we are more aware of the lower income areas or society where gender-based violence is more outspoken, maybe, or it depends on the cultural development of each community. But let me jump back to the wealthy. The wealthy are so good at hiding things under the carpet or behind the door, as we say, because it's a status thing. They don't want their friends, they don't want their partners in the businesses, they don't want their family to know. So it becomes a secondary abuse because now everything's kept quiet. We can hit each other, we can swear at each other, we can do what we like, kick each other in the house, but it doesn't leave my front gate. So when you go to a social event, you look like the most happiest dream couple out. You've got the best marriage, but get home and it's a different story. And as I've said, GBV doesn't look at the wealth. It doesn't look at how much money you've got. It's just how people are able to hide it. And they hide it. Even we can't even look at your low middle class or wealthy people. It's just how well some people are able to hide it. And it always lands up seeping out of the house because the cousins, the aunties, the uncles, your friends know about it, but they don't want to get involved because they say it's none of their business. Let me tell you, they are the people that should be getting involved. And if they're not involving themselves in your abuse, then, and especially you can't get rid of family as such, but those aren't your friends. And those family are not necessarily your best family members to have around. And then you get the arguments between two families, his family, her family, or whatever. And it's just hidden so easily. And that's the scary part of it, because we often see these murders happening, and we will hear, we've got a few cases that happened over the last few years, is where the wife's been killed or the husband's been killed, and if you go right deep into the matter, it's GBV over and over and over again. You lose trust in each other, you lose respect for each other. If there's GBV in a house and you're allowing it, both of you have lost respect for each other. And if you can't trust and respect each other, that is two main ingredients for a breakdown. You're either going to build it up again and it's hard work, or you're going to leave it. Don't stay there. But there's no, it's just that some people, and especially in the affluent areas, and I think you might agree with me, is that they're able to hide it very well. And it's often also goes back down to financial. The woman and it's often women again, she's just scared to leave because there's a lot of financial background. She's got this beautiful house, cars, she's got the social standards, status and everything. So it's hidden until something dramatic is happening.
No, I agree with you where that is concerned. Susan, we're running out of time, but before we end off, Susan, I truly believe that there's a need for more people like you to assist people in eradicating gender-based violence in South Africa. You have a wealth of experience. You came from a negative and now in the positive, and you can assist people and advise people, and you can assist in this national and the global mission campaign in order to lessen gender-based violence. I personally don't think gender-based violence will be eradicated completely, in the sense of every generation will come with its own issues and etc. But I mean, if there's awareness and people know about it, then we can lessen it from happening in the future, and we can control it, or we can make people more willing to come forward and to nip the bud when it's necessary to do so. But Susan, in any of this, tell us more about yourself. How can people get a hold of you? Actually get hold of you? Should they Google you? Should they search for you? And what service do you offer?
Okay, they can Google me under the name Tabansi, and I've also got a group on Facebook called From Victim to Survivor, also Tabansi. So anyway, they can Google me. They can come through you, Mohammed, as well, to get my details if they want to. I'm very much in people's face, if you put it that way, on Facebook, which is my social media platform mainly. I try and do a lot of group posting on it. So yes, it is there. My WhatsApp, my email, my Facebook is always open to anyone. So if they know of someone or they are themselves, they can always come through to me. Glenys Douth is also very involved in the KZN area with victims and survivors. So we are all networked. So we can get that help to you. It doesn't matter where you are. I'm Western Cape based, but it doesn't matter where you are. We can get you that assistance.
Thank you very much for that. Susan, I see somebody did pose a question now on the webinar. I'll read it out and maybe you can assist the person and you can maybe see it if possible. The person says, I don't agree with any of this, or I didn't get this help. I went to the police station and made a charge against him. Then I went to the hospital for the J88 and narcotic protection order. He did the same and was told by the judge to withdraw my case, or she will keep both protection orders for both against each other. My court case got lost, but I had to go to court for the case that he made against me. After I had my case reopened and he was found by guilty, the police officer was told told me that he will be getting his gun back because at that time I lived in George, and the police officer told me, but you don't live in Cape Town anymore. Very bad experience I had with him. Sorry for leaving so funny. I had to like zoom my eye into that.
Yes, no, it's fine.
Can you maybe respond to that, if possible?
Yeah, this is something we hear all the time. Again, our wonderful police force, but yes, she should go back, and she is still afraid. I mean, he's been given his gun back, and obviously that was the reason his gun was taken away. I presume maybe he threatened her with that gun. He should never be getting his gun back. And why was he given a protection order? I think that's what I've read there. Is that he was given a protection order and not her. And because she lives in George and he might be in Cape Town, that doesn't mean that he can't get in his car and drive to George and use that gun or form some of abuse on him. She should have been given the equal protection order and restrain him from coming near her of a certain amount of kilometers or meters or whatever. But I understand it's a very bad experience she's had, and I'm sorry it happens, but I'd ask her to have the strength to go back and get another protection order. Insist that you have a protection order. Try a different magistrate's court. I would run, you know, and obviously they will say it's not, you're not living in the area, but I would actually go there and make sure that they hear me and see me. And again, it's a sad story. If you don't stand, you've got to learn as a victim. You have to stand up. You've just got to get that backbone. And I use the word backbone because it is a fight, and you are shivering in your legs and you are afraid of doing this. And there's almost always a wise. Go back and insist you want your protection order. The magistrate will have to look at the details. It's not the clerk that's going to decide. So you will have to stand there and let the magistrate hear why you want it. And I would question the magistrate or someone in the bench that wouldn't want to give a protection order, especially if there's a gun available. And yes, he's gone and got a protection order, which is right as well. He has a right for it if he felt so. But for the gun to go back when there's already a question on abuse of some kind of, and things like that, he shouldn't be getting his gun back to start with. Not now. He should be sent back for competence evaluation and everything else. But go back and insist on a procedure. If she's asked there, I think, oh no, that's someone else. Go back to the magistrate's court, and most of them have domestic violence officers there, or police stations I know are also doing them. Go and you've got your JATH, use it. I hope you have a copy, or go and pull a copy from the file that's in that court and use it. You need a protection order. He can't just have one and not you.
Correct, yes. So thank you for that, Susan. I think the last question, basically, if documents are court at the police station, how can you obtain that? I think the only way to do it is to go to court and ask them for their copies. They should give you a copy. I don't know much details about it, but if there's a copy of any document in the court file, you are entitled to obtain it. If the court lost the document and the document is completely missing, then obviously it's gone. But if you have a copy and you're welcome to take it to the court, and the court will obviously have to acknowledge it. Susan, we ran out of time. We don't have much time left for this webinar, but do you have a minute to wrap up?
Okay, can I just ask that Glynis comes in and says something about her gender-based violence? That's Glynis, the one two down from you. Can you see it?
Yes.
She has such a large history and wonderful work. So I would like her, maybe she can just finish up for us.
Please, Glynis, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Unmute, Glynis. Unmute. Can you unmute her, Margaret?
I can't unmute.
There you go.
She's down.
Okay.
There she is.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Yes, I've had a long, again, like Sue, 4 times. Some of us don't learn very quickly. But, you know, you have to have the courage to step out there. It's your life. It's your kids' lives. And if you don't just step out there and make that first step, it's always a step over the hill. There's never, ever a step that will not take you over that hill. And stand up to the police. Don't just allow them to say, oh no, it doesn't happen. Then ask for their commander or their supervisor. Just keep going up. If it means you have to knock on the station commander's door, do it. It's your life that's in danger, your kids' lives that are in danger. Don't stand down and just let them treat you as a second-class citizen. You're not. You're a survivor and you need to be helped.